Hi, I'm Maya Johnson. I've spent the last decade building my reputation as one of the top art curators in the city. What most people don't know is that I'm married to Cameron Wells. We keep our relationship private since I want to succeed on my own merit, not because my husband runs a billion-dollar tech company. The cream envelope arrived on Tuesday, an invitation to the Westlake Foundation's annual charity gala. Not just any event, but the art world's equivalent of the Met Gala in our city. I practically danced around our penthouse. Someone's excited. What's got you bouncing off the walls? I waved the invitation at Cameron. The Westlake Gala. All the major collectors and gallery owners will be there. This could put my new artists on the map. 2 days later, my assistant called with confusion in her voice. There seems to be a mistake. When I called to RSVP, they said your name isn't on the list anymore. What? Check again. Maybe they misheard you. I triple-checked. They specifically said you've been removed. Something felt off. I called my friend Zoe, who works for the Foundation's PR team. Girl, I shouldn't be telling you this, but you need to know. Victoria Harrington personally removed you from the list. Victoria? The event chair? But why? I've never even met her. Zoe's voice dropped to a whisper. I overheard her talking to Rebecca. She said, and I'm quoting, "We need to maintain a certain image. The Johnson woman doesn't quite fit our aesthetic." My stomach twisted. Because I'm black. You didn't hear it from me? But yes. They have no idea who you're married to. Victoria and her crowd only see what they want to see. That evening, I told Cameron. The vein in his forehead pulsed as he paced our living room. This is blatant discrimination. I should call them right now. No, they have no idea we're married. I use my maiden name professionally, remember? Cameron stopped pacing. You're right. They don't know who you're connected to. Just then, Cameron's business partner Eric arrived for dinner. Why the serious faces? Someone die? I explained what happened while pouring drinks. Eric whistled low. Victoria Harrington. Isn't she launching that luxury resort project, looking for investors? Cameron's eyes lit up. She is. Her team's been trying to get a meeting with me for weeks. Well, I said, swirling my wine, maybe it's time you took that meeting. I'm listening. Cameron sat forward, intrigued. They judged me without knowing me. Let's see how they act when they find out who I really am. Eric grinned. I sense a plan brewing. They want to exclude me because of how I look? Fine. But they're about to learn a very expensive lesson about judging books by their covers. What exactly did you have in mind? Cameron asked. I smiled, feeling the first spark of satisfaction. Oh, I think it's time Victoria Harrington and her friends discover just how badly they've miscalculated. By the time we're done, they'll wish they'd never crossed me. The next morning, I sat at my desk investigating Victoria Harrington's digital footprint. Her social media was a shrine to wealth and exclusivity, no diversity whatsoever. Found anything interesting? Cameron asked, bringing me fresh coffee. She runs Harrington Luxury Developments. They're launching a resort project that needs major investors. The same project they've been begging my company to fund, Cameron laughed. This is almost too perfect. I noticed a young woman looking uncomfortable in several photos behind Victoria. Must be her assistant. I called Victoria's office, pretending to inquire about future foundation events. Her assistant answered. Harrington Developments, this is Melissa speaking. Hi, I'm wondering about the Westlake Foundation's upcoming events after the gala. The gala invitations have already gone out. Were you expecting one? I received one initially, but apparently there was some confusion. A pause. Are you Maya Johnson? Yes. Could we meet for coffee? Off the record? 2 hours later, I sat across from Melissa at a cafe far from Victoria's office. I shouldn't be doing this, she whispered. But what happened with your invitation wasn't right. What exactly happened? Victoria and Rebecca do this all the time. They invite someone professionally accomplished, then Google them. If they don't fit their preferred image, they find reasons to uninvite. You mean if they're not white? Melissa nodded. I've wanted to quit, But I need the reference. This resort project is everything to them right now. Anyone specific they're targeting for investment? There's this tech billionaire, Cameron Wells. Victoria's obsessed with getting his company on board. She thinks he'll make their resort the most exclusive destination in the Caribbean. I kept my face neutral. When is she meeting him? Next Thursday. She finally got through to his company. She's over the moon about it. And this resort? What's their vision? Very exclusive, very selective about clientele. They've turned away 3 investors because they weren't the right fit. Back home, I laid out everything for Cameron and Eric. They have no idea I'm your wife, and they're desperate for your investment. Eric whistled. What's the plan? First, I confirm that meeting, Cameron said, grabbing his phone. Then we set the trap. We need evidence, I insisted. Not just with me, but proof of a pattern. Eric leaned forward. What if we create a fake potential client, someone they definitely discriminate against? And record everything, I nodded. The meeting, the rejections, all of it. They want Cameron Wells, the investor? Cameron grinned. Let's give them exactly what they want and everything they deserve. Thursday arrived faster than expected. Cameron adjusted his tie before heading to his meeting with Victoria. Remember to act interested and get that dinner invitation, I told him. I'll join later as your surprise guest. Trust me, by tonight they'll be falling over themselves for my investment. Hours later, Cameron called. Dinner invitation secured. Tonight at her penthouse. Small gathering with investors. Perfect. I'll arrive at 9:30. Tell them you have a special guest joining later. That evening, Cameron attended Victoria's dinner party alone. From his hidden earpiece, I could hear everything. Cameron, we're absolutely thrilled you could make it. Victoria's voice dripped with sweetness. Wouldn't miss it. I hope it's all right that someone special will be joining me later. Of course. Any friend of yours is welcome here. The dinner progressed with Victoria and Rebecca courting Cameron's investment. The Pinnacle will redefine exclusivity, Victoria announced. A sanctuary for the right kind of people? What exactly do you mean by right kind? Cameron asked. Rebecca leaned in. You know, people who understand quality, not just anyone with money. We're very selective, Victoria added. Like the Westlake Gala. We had to remove some people who simply wouldn't fit in. Really? Who? Cameron prompted. This curator woman, Rebecca laughed. What was her name again? Victoria? Maya Johnson, Victoria said dismissively. Accomplished on paper, but when we saw her photo, she lowered her voice. We have standards to maintain. You wouldn't want someone like that at the Pinnacle either, Rebecca added. It would change the whole atmosphere. At 9:30 exactly, the doorbell rang. That must be my guest, Cameron smiled. Victoria hurried to open the door. I stood there in my black Givenchy dress, enjoying her shocked expression. Good evening, Victoria. We meet at last. She stammered as Cameron approached. Victoria, Rebecca, I'd like to introduce you to Maya Johnson. Rebecca nearly choked on her champagne. Maya Johnson? The curator? The very same, I replied calmly. The one who wouldn't fit in at your gala. Victoria's face drained of color. There must be some misunderstanding. Oh, there's no misunderstanding, Cameron interrupted. You see, Maya isn't just any guest. She's my wife. Your wife? Rebecca gasped, looking between us in horror. And I've recorded this entire evening, Cameron added, holding up his phone. Your comments about being selective and maintaining standards will make fascinating listening for your other investors. Victoria stepped forward desperately. Please, I had no idea. This is all a terrible mistake. I'm so sorry. Save it, I cut her off coldly. Your apologies mean nothing to me. The Monday after the dinner party, Cameron and I sat with Eric in our living room, forwarding the recordings to select industry contacts. Send it to the Westlake Foundation board members first, I suggested, watching Eric type furiously on his laptop. Already done. Also sent it to every major investor who's been approached about the Pinnacle. My phone buzzed non-stop with messages from people who'd received the recordings. Is this for real? Victoria actually said that? I always suspected they were like this. Now we have proof. By Wednesday, the fallout was nuclear. 3 major investors publicly withdrew from the Pinnacle project. Have you seen the business section? Cameron handed me the newspaper. Harrington Development stock dropped 30% overnight. I smiled, scanning the headline. Luxury resort project in jeopardy after racist remarks surface. Victoria's called 17 times, Eric said, checking the office messages. Apparently, she's been removed from the Westlake Foundation board. What about Rebecca? Her gallery's biggest clients are canceling. She's toast. I received a text from Melissa, Victoria's former assistant. Just quit my job. Thank you for exposing them. Not just for me, but for everyone they've ever discriminated against. 2 weeks later, I published an article in Art Forum about discrimination in elite art circles. The response was overwhelming. Dozens of people sharing similar experiences. That Friday, Victoria showed up at my gallery, eyes puffy from crying. Maya, please. My life is falling apart. That sounds like a personal problem. I've lost everything. The resort project, my reputation. I've come to apologize properly. Let me guess. Now that you've faced consequences, you've seen the error of your ways? I was wrong. Terribly wrong. What can I do to make this right? Nothing. Some bridges stay burned. But I'm truly sorry. Your apology isn't for me. It's to make yourself feel better. The answer is still no. After she left, Cameron called with news. The Westlake Foundation wants us to host this year's gala. They've completely restructured their board. Tell them yes, but on one condition. We open it to artists and curators from all backgrounds. 1 month later, our reimagined Westlake Gala was the talk of the city. The guest list reflected actual diversity, not just in race, but in age, background, and artistic vision. This is how it should have been all along, I told Cameron as we greeted guests. Look who's outside, Eric whispered, nodding toward the entrance. Through the glass doors, I spotted Victoria and Rebecca watching the celebration from the sidewalk, uninvited and unwelcome. Should we call security? Cameron asked. No, let them see what they're missing. I raised my glass to the crowd. To breaking down barriers and building a truly inclusive arts community. The applause was deafening, particularly from those who'd previously been excluded from such events. Your revenge was better than anything I could have imagined, Melissa said, now working as my assistant. I smiled, watching Victoria and Rebecca slink away into the night. It wasn't revenge, it was justice. Would you have accepted Victoria's apology after she lost everything? Or do you agree with Maya that some bridges should stay burned? Is public exposure the only way to fight systemic discrimination? Or does it just create more division? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this story about standing up to discrimination, hit that like button and subscribe for more revenge tales that tackle real social issues. New stories every week about people who refuse to be silenced.